Okay, welcome. We're going to continue with paragraph 3.1 from chapter 3. So we're going to skip a bit of chapter 2 and we might get back to it later on in this year. But we're going to do the chapter with squares and square root. And well, we're going to get started with paragraph 1. It's the square root and it's the opposite of the square. Just to remind you, what was it again? The square. You can see a square over here, and you know with the squares all sides have an equal length. So if one side is 7, then the other side is 7 as well. And then if I want to calculate the area, so this one side is 7 centimeters and that one is also 7 centimeters, then the area is equal to the side multiplied by the height is 7 multiplied by 7, and that is 49. And that's something you remember because you still remember your perfect primes from last year if it's correctly. So then the area is 47 squared centimeters. So 49 squared centimeters. And you could also write it down as that the square of 7 squared, is equal to 49. Basically the same. So that you get from the side to the area. And the square root is the opposite. Then you get the area and you need to calculate the side of a square. So if we have an area of 49 square centimeters and you want to know the side, well then you know that 7 multiplied by 7 is 49, so the side is 7 centimeters because 7 multiplied by 7 is 49. You could write it down a bit differently. You could write it down that the as a square root, and a square root is simply calculating the length if you know the area of a square, and it is written, so this is square root, and it's written down as this sign. This is basically square root, and then 49, and that is then 7, because 7 multiplied by 7 is 49. And you can basically use your calculator for this, but the perfect primes, the ones from, and then this 1, 4, 9, 16, and so on, you can see them over here. They get a whole number as answer, and you should basically remember that. And if not, we should practice that, learn that, so that you know them by heart, so you don't need to use your calculator if you need to get the square root of one of these numbers. And basically what you see is the square root of 49 is 7. You could use it with other numbers as well, but you cannot use it with negative numbers, because basically it says that the area, you can't have a negative number as area. 1 is possible, but an area of -1 square centimeters, that is not a good idea to have. So that's why it is not possible to take the square root of a negative number. So the square root of -49 is not possible. And what you can do, but what is possible is minus the square root of 49. Then this is simply a number, and that number is then has an opposite, and that's only minus number. Okay, this is basically what I wrote over here. So the square is a number you get when you multiply a number with itself. So for example, the square of 5 is 25. So you can write down 5 squared is 25, because 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. And the square root is the opposite. So the square root of 25 is 5 because 25 is 5 multiplied by 5. And that is written as this sign with 25. And like I just said, you can only take the square root of 0 or a greater number. Okay, and with the perfect primes, you should be able to do that and you get a nice number because all these perfect primes, they are the square of two normal numbers, whole numbers. But what if you don't have one of these numbers, you need to take the square of these. Then, yeah, if you need to give an exact answer, you simply need to keep it like that. So if, for instance, over here I can see lots of numbers, but I cannot see 8. So if I want to take the square root of 8, it's not over here, and I know it has to be somewhere between 4 and 9, so the answer is somewhere between 2 and 3. But what it is exactly, I do not know. That's where my calculator comes in handy. There's this square root sign on your calculator. Go pause the video and search for it, and if you have found it, punch it, then press 8, and then the answer is equal, and then you get a very long number, and it starts with 2.828, and it continues with 427,125. This is not exact. This is the exact number, and this is an approximation. It is not exact, but it kinda is close enough. So how do you write it down as an approximation? You simply write down then wavy is equal to sign, and that is 2.83. Of course, we need to round off properly. That's what I have over here as well as a note. So as you can see, what I explained about square roots is this, and the notes is to the right, and basically you might remember the square, but square root is new, so that is something you should take a note of or get it. And then also the perfect primes is something you should take into account. If you don't know them yet, copy them so you can learn them. Because some questions you simply you're asked, what is the square root of 144? And then without using your calculator, you simply need to know, 144, 12 multiplied by 12 is 144, so the square root of 144 is 12. Okay, hey, we're going to practice in class. I'm going to do an example, and then in class you can practice, you can see, and so on. Okay, see you on Wednesday. Bye.